A dimensional gate between humans and monsters has appeared. Along with the appearance of the gate, the chosen humans get power. They call themselves hunters, and the struggle for the earth between humans and monsters begins. 10 years ago, a gate, or we call it a gate, appeared in various parts of the world. The gate connects the human world with the world of magic or monsters, which we call the dungeon. Along with the emergence of the gate, a gift or power that we call awakening is also accepted by selected humans. The selected people are called hunters. Each hunter has their special skills. There are types of attackers, types of defenders, and many others. In addition to skill specialization, there is a difference in the strength of each hunter. The weakest is given an E rank, and the strongest among the E's ranks can even become a country class hunter. Similar to hunter, the monsters in the dungeon also have different levels. The weakest level is level E to the strongest monster, namely level S. Before entering the dungeon, the hunter will first detect the gate that appears. So if the gate that appears is level E, the hunters will send hunters with the same class or above, and so on. Hunters will receive abundant cash benefits after completing the gate, because in the dungeon there are mana stones, or if you're lucky, you can get the mana core from the defeated monsters. Carcasses of monsters can also be used for building weapons and other things. All of that can be exchanged for money of high value, so it's no wonder that many hunters are tempted by their profession. A teenage male hunter from rank E named Sung Jin-Woo was nicknamed the weakest hunter, because even dealing with Class E monsters he almost died and left the gate always injured. Economic difficulties make Sung Jin-Woo have no other choice but to become a hunter, because he has to support his sister named adultery and pay for his mother's hospital fees, because his mother had an illness that kept her asleep for years. Even though he is called the weakest hunter, Sung Jin-Woo is still invited to hunt, or in other words, raid, because to go through a gate the rules cannot be less than 10 hunters. All that was done to avoid the risk of severe death. Hunter. A level D gate appears in the construction area. There Sung Jin-Woo joined the raid. There he met a healer type hunter named Joo-hee. It seems that Joo-hee is already familiar with Sung Jin-Woo because they often raid together. In this raid, led by a magic type hunter named Mr. Sun, there are a total of 17 hunters in this raid. After entering the dungeon, the hunters succeeded in defeating the monsters easily, and there they find another gate. This was a rare occurrence, as normally there would only be one dungeon. They then drew lots, with 8 people wanting to enter the second gate and another 8 people choosing to return. The final decision rests with Sung Jin-Woo. He is the one who needs money for his mother's hospital. As a result, he decides to continue the raid. The 17 of them finally decided to enter the second dungeon. They were then confronted with a mysterious gate. The gate opened easily. They were now in a room that was more accurately called a shrine. You can see giant statues around the room, and there is one statue that is the biggest sitting on the throne. We call it the statue of the king. In one corner of the room, they all saw a statue holding a stone. Mr. Sun happened to know the script, and he read the commander of the Kartanan temple, which means first worship your majesty, secondly praise your majesty, thirdly prove your loyalty. Those who don't follow orders will never come back alive. Immediately the eyeball or the king moved and the entrance was suddenly closed. The hunters were starting to panic, but there they were trying to calm down. A hunter then tried to open the gate, but surprisingly a giant guardian statue moved and killed him. This slowly made the hunters shocked by the events they saw. While the eyes of the king of the statues then shone, Sung Jin-Woo realized something and ordered everyone to get down. With lightning speed, the king's statue emitted laser light from its eyes and burned several hunters to death. As a result of that, Mr. Sun had to lose his left hand. Mr. Sun looked again at the stone carving and said, "Don't move. If you move, you will die." One of the hunters tried to run away with his speed skills, but unfortunately again the king's statue burned him. They were even more panicked. Strangely, when the hunters didn't move, the statue of the king didn't seem to respond. Sung Jin-Woo then realized that this statue was attacking with a pattern. He thought that there was a rule that had to be followed in this temple. Sung Jin-Woo knows the orders written in the stone. First is to worship his majesty. Jin-Woo tried to move, then as fast as possible Jin-Woo bowed his head in worship. And the statue of the king doesn't attack Jin-Woo. The other hunters then joined in worshipping the statue of the king, but suddenly smiled with terrible emotions. The atmosphere is tenser because now the statue of the king can stand outside. Jin-Woo realized the second order. The second command is to praise the Lord. One of the hunters then tried to recite the praises, but it was unlucky for the king's statue to step on the hunter. All the hunters running for a safe place, but the surrounding guardian statues moved again and many hunters were killed. Here Jin-Woo then saw an instrument statue. He told the hunters who were still alive to try to hide nearby. One of the hunters was standing right at the instrument statue, and, indeed, the statue of the king didn't attack him. Jin-Woo and Joo-hee were standing in front of the same instrument statue, and they were all confused because the instrument statue in front of him didn't move like the other instrument statues. Jin-Woo then thought that one statue could only be approached by one person. Jin-Woo then rushed to find another instrument statue, Before Jin-Wook got to the instrument statue, he was thrown and was near the giant statue, which resulted in Jin-Wook being attacked with all his might. But he finally managed to get close to another instrument statue. But unfortunately, Jin-Wook had to lose a leg. Joo-hee, who is a hunter healer, tries to heal Jin-Wook's leg. But Joo-hee's strength weakened and he was forced to not be able to help Jin-Wook this time. They had just sighed, and suddenly the statue of the king issued something from the ground. They realized it was a place for a sacrificial ritual. They all then realized the third commandment was show your loyalty. They all thought the same thing, there must be one person sacrificed here. They were all frightened because it had not crossed their minds to die now. The emergence of the altar became a conflict between them. Mr. Sun, who became the leader of the raid this time, felt that he had to be responsible. Then he entered into the circle of the altar and immediately a red flame appeared around the altar. The remaining hunters then entered the altar. The other 5 hunters also followed Mr. Sun. Now they are all in the altar circle, and there are 6 red flames according to the number of people in the altar circle. Immediately blue flames surrounded the altar, and the warrior statues on them all moved now. The previously closed entrance was now wide open, and one of the hunters thought this was an opportunity to escape. He ran, and unexpectedly the soldier statue didn't attack him. And the hunter made it out. Realizing that, another hunter managed to get out and the warrior statue didn't attack him. Jae-wook then realized something. Because the third commandment is to prove your loyalty. If the entrance is deliberately opened to test loyalty, on command this time he realized it was a trap. Jae-wook then told Hunter, who is still at the altar, not to leave the room. Jae-wook also noticed after one of the hunters left that the red around the altar had disappeared. The blue flames also disappeared one by one within the specified time. The warrior statues did not attack even if they were close. Jae-wook kept thinking. He realized again that we have to wait until the blue flames disappear. One of the hunters then felt worried. He thanked Jin-wook first because thanks to his instincts he was still alive now. But on the other hand, he did not want to take the risk if he had to die here. He apologized and left the other 3 hunters behind. Mr. Sun, Joo-hee, and Jin-wook are in a complicated situation. As time goes by, the blue flames around them disappear, but the entrance slowly closes too. With a big heart, Mr. Sun then ordered Jin-wook and Joo-hee to leave. But it's a shame the situation didn't allow it, because now Joo-hee had run out of energy and couldn't stand up, while Jin-wook lost one of his legs. Jin-wook there took a stand. He knew that he was the weakest and most unreliable hunter. Even though he returned alive, Jin-wook had the heart to tell Mr. Sun to go and bring Joo-hee. Jin-wook gave Joo-hee his mana core as a memento because he had helped Jin-wook a lot so far. Mr. Sun now has no choice but to leave Jin-wook alone. The two of them finally left Jin-wook alone. Jin-wook is faced with the statues of warriors in front of him. The blue flames had all disappeared and the entrance had also closed. The warrior statues are now starting to attack Jin-wook. Only with the sword left by Mr. Kim, Jin-wook tried to survive as best he could. But the vast difference in strength made Jin-wook now on the verge of death. His body is now lying on the altar and a warrior statue is now ready to draw his sword. In his little heart, Jin-wook said, "I don't want to die now." Before the warrior statue gave its final attack, suddenly the altar reacted and a mysterious screen appeared in front of it. It says you have completed all the requirements. The screen gives Jin-wook the option to accept or reject it. Jin-wook has 2 seconds to make a choice. If he refuses, Jin-wook will die. There he had no other choice but to die now. Jin-wook then accepted it, and the screen now says, "Congratulations, you became a player," and immediately a bright light enveloped Jin-wook's body. Jin-wook opened his eyes and was now in the hospital. Jin-wook had thought that the incident at the temple and the double dungeon was just a dream, because Jin-wook saw that one of his legs was still intact and did not feel any injuries to his body. 2 men then met Jin-wook at the hospital. They were members of the Korean Hunter Investigation Association. They are a special association investigating hunter-hunter activities in Korea and maintaining a balance between hunters so that there is no conflict. They said Jin-wook had been asleep for 3 days at the hospital, and the 5 hunters who had survived were active as usual. It's just that Joo-hee is currently still undergoing treatment due to deep trauma. Jin-wook realizes that the terrible events he experienced were real. The Association of Investigators came to see Jin-wook because he suspected that Jin-woo had a double awakening. After all, it was impossible to survive such a violent event. When a group of hunters in the White Tiger Guild went to the location, they only saw Jin-wook himself on an altar, and the room told by the hunter who was still alive disappeared. Jin-wook was confused because it was clear that at the time of the incident they were in a large room. Jin-wook thought about whether he had received a second resurrection. The association member then said that generally a hunter only received 1 awakening, but there were cases where a hunter could obtain multiple awakenings and gain even greater power. The association member then showed Hunter's strength detector. Jin-wook held it and the value was 10. That was very low because the weakest hunter could get 70. The 2 investigators then left and apologized for suspecting Jin-wook. Not long after, his sister named Zina came to visit Jin-wook. But here Zina couldn't see the mysterious screen in front of her. It turned out that only he could see the screen. When his younger sister came home, Jin-Wook opened an incoming message that contained this. This is a system that will help player development. If you don't comply with the system, you will be penalized. Players will get rewards or prizes if they successfully comply with the system. Another incoming message containing preparations to be strong and see a mission that must be completed within a certain time. Jin-Wook thinks this is ridiculous. He doesn't have to take part in the mission that must be completed today. However, when the time was up, a message came again saying that Jin-Wook was being punished for not completing the mission this time. There, Jin-Wook then felt a great earthquake and realized that now he was in a desert. A giant centipede monster appeared near Jin-Wook and was about to attack him. A message from the system appears again containing the mission of the present punishment is surviving for life from the monster attack this time. Jin-Wook cannot refuse because his life is at stake. Jin-Wook is now being punished by the system. He is in the desert and has to survive for 4 hours from the attack of a giant centipede monster. With all his might he continued to dodge. He was cornered and ready to be pounced on by a monster. But fortunately, the time given is up. Jin-Wook survived and returned to the hospital. A message from the system appears containing rewards after completing the mission. Since that day, Jin-Wook no longer ignored the system. He started doing the missions that were given every day. The mission he received now is to train physically, start push-ups, run, and other. After getting tired of completing his daily missions, a message from the system appeared. Jin-Wook received a gift in the form of recovery. He accepted it, and immediately his body received light that made his physical fatigue disappear. Jin-Wook checks the screen on the system. His status is still level 1 and he will get points if he completes the given mission. Besides the player status screen, there is also an inventory screen, a place to store weapons or whatever. There is also a screen of skills or strengths that can be used. Jin started to enjoy it. He felt this is a game. A message comes in again. This time he gets a mysterious box. Jin-Wook got a key from the mysterious box he received. The key is a tool to enter the dungeon instantly. It also says where the key can be used. Jin-Wook then heads to the location, which is at door 3 of Hapyeong Station. Jin-Wook Young was curious and tried it. A gate then appeared, and just as he entered, the gate suddenly closed. This dungeon is also different from other dungeons because ordinary humans are not aware of its existence. Jin-Wook regretted a little. He was afraid he couldn't come back again. Another incoming message says you can't leave the dungeon, either kill the boss or use the Hearthstone. This Hearthstone Jin-Wook got as a reward after the punishment mission in the desert. A few moments later, Jin-Wook felt the presence of a frightening force at the end of the hall. A pair of bloodshot eyes and sharp teeth appeared and attacked Jin-Wook. It was a wolf monster. Its name was Steel Fang Raken. Jin-Wook panicked. He realized that even against ranky monsters, he was injured, even almost dead. And now he has to face a much stronger monster. Maybe this monster is rank or more, said Jin-Wook. The monster attacked again. Jin-Wook was surprisingly able to avoid it. He wondered how his body could be this light. Now Jin-Wook was confident and threw his first punch. The monster was knocked out of boredom. Jin-Wook was surprised again by the power of his punch. A few hits on the monster were unable to kill it. He thought that there must be a magic weapon that must be used. Jin-Wook remembered that he had used Mr. Kim's weapon when he was in a double dungeon. Jin-Wook wasn't sure if it was still there or not, so he opened the inventory on the system screen. Luckily, because the weapon was still there, he took it and immediately slashed the monster to death. The message comes in again, containing you leveling up and defeating the wolf monster just now. After that, suddenly 2 of the same monsters appeared in front of Jin-Wook. But now his fighting mentality has changed. He is no longer afraid and defeats all the wolf monsters that keep coming to attack him. Jin-Wook checked the system screen and got 5 points for defeating the wolf monster. The points earned can be used to increase strength, speed, endurance, intelligence, or whatever it is according to Jin-Wook's wishes. And this time Jin-Wook added the points he got to his strength. Jin-Wook is now starting to know how this system works and can continue to be strong if he continues to level up. As long as monsters are defeated, Jin-Wook also gets something from the monsters he defeats. This time he got canines, and in that system, there is also a market where we can sell the goods of the monsters we defeat. Items that have been sold can be exchanged for gold and will be in the player's inventory. Jin-Wook thought about why the gate wouldn't open even though he had defeated many monsters. And from far away, a pack of wolves that far more appeared before Jin-Wook. But now he is confident and can beat easily because he has raised his strength level. As the fighting continues to rise, a bunch of wolves is easily defeated by Jin-Wook. Now a message from the system appears again containing you have received the title of Wolf Slayer. Even though everyone has been defeated, but still Jin-Wook can't get out of the dungeon this instant. He had thought about using Hearthstone to get out, but his determination to become strong made him want to keep fighting. Jin-Wook circled the instant dungeon. Then he met again with a group of ape monsters named Razor Claw Briga and Black Shadow Razan. But easily Jin-Wook beat him. Jin-Wook began to feel Eve's strength in his body. A few moments later, Jin-Wook felt Eve's great power in the basement. He felt unsure about coming to her. But if not now, he doesn't know the extent of his strength. When he arrived in the room, Jin-Wook was surprised by a fast attack from a monster. Jin-Wook was thrown and now his sword is broken with just one strike. Now Jin-Wook is faced with a giant snake monster named Blue Poison. The Blue Poison possessed terrifying speed and power. Jin-Wook was cornered against him. The one and the only weapon he has is also broken. With the broken sword, Jin-Wook tried to survive, but the difference in strength was far enough to overwhelm him. But his enthusiasm and determination continued to flare up. Jin-Wook wanted to be released from the shadows of the past among the weakest who was always looked down upon. His fighting spirit is getting higher. He must be able to defeat this monster. Finally, Jin-Wook was able to injure him, but now his weapon is thrown. But that didn't make him give up. Using his bare hands, he climbed onto the snake's head firmly. He gripped it. He knew the label of his strength, but at least it had increased now. With all his might, he continued to grip it until finally the monster was defeated. A message from the system popped up. His level had risen significantly. Soon a message appears again containing "You have defeated this dungeon boss." Jin-Wook also received a prize from the system, this time in the form of an item called Resaka Venom. If using this item can make the skin harder. And there is one more item that Jin-Wook got from this monster. He got a knife, or we call it dagger. This knife is made from the fang of a snake from a monster that Jin-Wook defeated. This weapon has a special effect. One scratch can give a poison effect that paralyzes the enemy, and can also provide a bleeding effect that makes the enemy lose 1% of life every second. An overpowered weapon, of course. Message appears again saying boss has been defeated, dungeon will be restored as normal. Suddenly a bright light disappeared from the dungeon. When Jin-Wook was about to go home, he was approached by a soldier who said there was a big monster that came out of the dungeon near here and could not be defeated. And without realizing it, now Jin-Wook could feel the instincts of a monster. Jin-Wook rushed there and saw that the hunters were overwhelmed by the monsters there. Jin-Wook also saw Ju-Hee fighting. It looked like Ju-Hee was still traumatized from the fight. With lightning speed, Jin-Wook jumped and threw his broken sword. The monster fell and the other hunters finished the rest. The other hunters were surprised by what had happened. Jin-Wook then left without the knowledge of the other hunters. His level is now 18 and his strength is increasing thanks to the missions given by the system. His body is now getting stronger and taller. Xena felt the difference, but her attitude remained the same. Jin-Wook only said that now he was exercising regularly. Looking at his already muscular body, he thought he shouldn't add any more points to his strength. Smartly, he wants to maximize the points he gets. And this time he added his points for agility. Even though he has new powers, he still has trouble making money because the level that the Hunter Union recognizes him is rank E. Because by chance an above hunter will enter a dungeon where there are lots of mana stones. Even a high-class hunter could get a salary from the guild he joined. The financial difficulties made Jin-Wook accept any invitation to join the raid. This time he was invited to raid again. His job was only as a porter, and this time it was led by a C-rank hunter named Hwang Dong-suk and several C and D-rank hunters. A total of 10 hunters were in this raid. As usual, when he got there, Jin-Wook was ridiculed by the other hunters because of the title attached to him, namely the weakest hunter. This time, Jin-Wook did not carry the goods alone. He was accompanied by a rank D hunter named Yu Jin-Hoo. Although this D-rank hunter is Jin-Hoo's first raid, it can be seen that his preparation is quite excessive with expensive clothes and weapons. Hunter's severe fighting equipment is quite common among hunters to support battle. Hunters can buy shield weapons or special clothing to help them fight, but the high price makes it almost impossible for a few to buy fighting equipment. Jin-Hoo is one of them because he is the son of a billionaire in Korea. The gate they will go through this time is rank C before leaving. Jin-Wook added the points earned for sense or detection. Jin-Wook also asked Hwang Dong-suk why there are no healer-type ghosts there. Hwang Dong-suk said that we are all attack-type hunters and are used to going in and out of the gates here. Without thinking, they all then entered the dungeon. This is the first C-rank gate for Jin-Wook and the first raid for Jin-Ho. Throughout the dungeon, Jin-Ho kept talking and wouldn't shut up. Jin-Wook feels he is a strange and funny person. Now the hunters arrived at the cave passage. They were surprised because there were no monsters there. Jin-Wook then used his sense of hearing and knew that there was an insect monster from above. The combination of defense and attack on this team is quite good, plus Hwang Dong-suk's experienced fighting skills make the group of monsters defeated easily. Seeing them fight, Jin-Wook felt the killer aura of the very rough hunters. Jin-Wook began to realize that something was wrong with this team. They continued to surround the dungeon until they arrived in front of the spider monster's lair. The monsters were sleeping. They realized this was the boss. They thought they didn't want to fight him, they just wanted to take the mana stones that were abundant around the boss lair. It's a loss if you have to kill the boss because a dungeon will be closed forever if the boss is defeated and they can't take the mana stones there. They then suddenly ordered Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho to guard this place because they wanted to get out for a while and would be back there as soon as possible. Jin-Wook became even more suspicious of them, and sure enough, after some distance, they suddenly blew up the entrance to the boss's place so that now Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho could not get out of the boss's room. Jin-Ho looks panicked by the situation now. Jin-Wook then realizes that they are lizards. In the past, Jin-Wook was told that there was a group of two-faced hunters around the hunters. They do not hesitate to endanger other hunters and even kill them for reasons of money or their interests. The cunning of these lizards will make up stories to cover up their crimes because outsiders will not know the true events in the dungeon. Outside the dungeon, the lizards had planned all of this. They intend to sacrifice Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho for the boss. And they know the boss will wake up, and when they fall asleep again they will come back there to get any of the stones and will take Jin-Ho's expensive fighting equipment. After that, they would make up a story if there was an accident that killed them both. They believe Jin-Ho and Jin-Wook will die by boss. Back to the story inside the dungeon. Jin-Ho now felt scared. He panicked with the current situation. Moreover, the boss who had been asleep had now woken up and was about to attack the two of them. The two of them were faced with the awakened boss. Jin-Ho trembled with fear as this was his first raid and immediately ran into a difficult situation. Jin-Ho, who felt his rank was higher, stepped forward and said, "I'm not sure, but I will protect you." Jin-Ho is not aware that Jin-Wook has considerable strength. Jin-Wook then said, "Back off, I will kill him." A bright light came out of his hand and took out the dagger he had just gotten. His fighting mentality is getting better. He has no more fear. The spider monster came to attack and quickly Jin-Woo gave a barrage of attacks on the monster. Jin-Ho was surprised and said, "Is he a ranky hunter? The monster that Jin-Wook is facing now has thick skin and is difficult to scratch. And a single blow that the monster gave could shatter a human body." Jin-Wook then approached him again, but this time the monster secreted a liquid in the form of a dangerous poison. But fortunately, Jin-Wook managed to avoid it. Then he thought to keep his distance and must be even faster. Then he activated the skill he had in his system, namely sprint. His movement accelerated. This time Jin-Wook intended to target his head. Jin jumped and managed to inflict a wound on the monster's head with his sword. Then he activates the effect of his sword, which is poison. But the great thing is that the monster can neutralize the poison from Jin-Wook's attack. The speed is not yet able to overthrow the spider monster. Jin-Wook was cornered and ready to be hit, but he quickly jumped on his head. Now Jin-Wook is attacking his eyes. He tries to reactivate his skills in succession. Jin-Wook attacks him, and the second effect of his weapon is activated, namely blend. This effect could make the monster lose its life by 1% per second. The monster is now powerless and Jin-Wook gives his final attack, which makes the monster able to be defeated. A message from the system that appears that the level has increased significantly. His level was now 21 with an increasing amount of strength. Jin-Ho was dumbfounded by this fight. He couldn't believe the boss could be defeated alone. Jin-Ho suspects Jin-Wook's rank is a fake. Jin-Ho was afraid of Jin-Wook, but now Jin-Ho thinks that Jin-Wook is a good person. After the fight, Jin-Ho then approached Jin-Wook and gave him a drink. Then he rushed to harvest the abundant mana stones. Not long after that, there was an explosion. The lizards came back and were amazed to see that they were both still alive with the defeated spider boss. Hwang Doksu thought that it was Jin-Ho who had defeated the boss because it was impossible for a ranky hunter like Jin-Wook to beat him. He was in the wrong for underestimating Jin-Ho, and it would be problematic to deal with him. Hwa Doksu cunningly made an offer for Jin-Ho to join his team with the condition that he must kill Jin-Wook. "If you refuse, then you both will die here." Clearly, Jin-Ho refused because he knew Jin-Wook had saved his life. Of course, that answer made Hwang Doksu angry and intended to kill them both. Suddenly, an emergency message appears from the system containing a mission to kill people who endanger the player. Written 8 people to kill. They started to attack. Jin-Woo was thrown. Your genie kept pondering, why is the hunter world like this? Nothing is as fun as he often does. He thought again that if they were to stay alive there would be many hunters who would become the next victims. Jin-Wook got up and tried to talk to them, but they were still stubborn. Someone almost approached and belittled him. Jin-Wook, who couldn't bear to remember what they had done, immediately started the attack. One person was finished off, and they all panicked with Jin-Wook's swift attack invisible. Doubts returned to Jin-Wook whether the path he had chosen was correct to kill humans. But this is the reality he has to face. If he doesn't kill, then Jin-Wook will be killed. One of these annoying hunter magic then attacked with his fire magic. But his speed is not comparable to Jin-Wook. 2 people have been finished. Jin-Wook was beaten up, but no one could match his speed. Jin-Wook finished off another hunter with his knife. He showed the effect of the knife. Skill bleed activated. Skill paralysis also activated. Hwang Doksu was stunned to see all this. 7 of his members were killed in the blink of an eye, and now only he was left. Hwang Doksu did not accept that his members were killed. Then he used all his abilities, but Jin-Wook was able to fight back easily. At the end of his death, Doksu asked Jin-Woo for mercy and said he would give money and crystal stones in abundance as long as they didn't kill him. You will also get in big trouble if you know who my sister is. Of course, Jin-Wook was not consumed by his cunning mouth. With the blink of an eye, his head left his body, and the message from the system popped up: mission accomplished, reward had been awarded. This time he got recovery, more points, and a new skill, bloodlust. This skill can release energy in the body and make the target afraid. Jin-Ho was very shocked to see what happened. Jin-Wook said, "We have to go. This dungeon will be closed forever." Jin-Woo's financial condition began to improve. He sold all the mana stones he got yesterday and had a meal with his sister at home. Message from the system appears again. Jin-Wook gets a new skill. This skill will automatically neutralize the poison in his body. Jin-Wook then tried to drink the venom monster item that he got a few days ago, and unexpectedly, the new effect can quickly neutralize the poison in his body and regenerate his body. At a cafe, Jin-Ho wants to meet Jin-Wook, so they meet there. Jin-Ho thanks him very much for saving his life. Jin-Ho also said he wanted to form Hunter's Guild and invited him to join. Jin-Wook refuses, but Jai-Hoo asks him to hear his explanation first. Jin-Ho said only 19 raid, because the requirement to form a guild is at least 20 raids. One raid has done yesterday, leaving only 19 more. Jin-Ho will also give a large share to Jin-Wook and promises to keep his strength a secret if that is Jin-Wook's will. Jin-Ho didn't just want to form a guild, he wanted to help his father because his father wanted to have Hunter's Guild. Later this guild will recruit S-rank hunters as leaders. Jin-Ho's father did all this because there was a promising business in the hunter world. Jin-Wook then said what benefits would he receive if he joined. Jin-Ho then gave him a contract letter which surprised Jin-Wook. He will earn $300,000 just by doing 19 raids. Jin-Wook certainly didn't refuse, but not solely because of money, because he wanted to continue to raise his fighting level if he continued to fight in the dungeon. Jin-Wook has a condition so that only the two of us enter the dungeon later, and we don't need other people. We can hire other hunters for the conditions from the guild of at least 10 hunters to raid. The remaining hunters only needed to wait outside until Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho came back, and they finally reached an agreement to form a guild. This mysterious system always gives Jin-Wook orders to continue to train physically. Now everything feels easy for him, even Jin-Wook exceeds the limit that must be done. On the other hand, without Jin-Wook realizing it, the news of Dong-Suk's death spread widely and reached the ears of his younger brother Dong-Suk, who lives in America. He is a scary rank S hunter named Hwang Dong-So. Dong-So has now gotten data from Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho, who are the two survivors of the accident. He doesn't believe Dong-Suk can die so easily. Dong-Su thinks these two people have framed his brother, and he intends to return to Korea to kill them. The news of Dong-Su's death was also heard by the Korean Hunter Investigation Union. Yoo Jin-Chul, who acted as deputy chairman, felt that this would be serious, because Dong-Su will not stay silent when his brother dies. He didn't think too much about Jin-Wook and Jin-Ho because they just got lucky from an accident in the raid. On the other hand, Jin-Wook, who continued to practice, again got the instant dungeon key thanks to the extra portion that Jin-Wook gave to his daily missions. This time the key was red, which was a Class S item. Without thinking, Jin-Wook went straight to the location, and a bigger gate appeared. He entered it and thought he had to be more careful because he knew this was a rank S dungeon. You could say it was a rank dungeon. This is the most difficult story because this case happened on Jeju Island, where an S-rank gate was once opened. The place instantly became a desert that no human could live in. Even if an S-rank hunter group formed, a team could not finish it, and until now the condition of Jeju Island is still like that. Inside the dungeon this time it looked like a city on fire with the fire still burning. A three-headed monster named Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus then came to confront Jin-Wook. The monster began to attack, and for the first time, Jin-Woo used the Wolf Slayer skill or Wolf Claw obtained from his title as a Wolf Slayer. But his attacks weren't enough to take down the monsters he was facing now. This time his attacks combined with his sprint skills make his attacks now even faster. Lastly, he added the Bloodlust skill, but all the combinations were not able to overthrow the monster either. An alarm from the system appeared saying that the monster will attack with deadly skill. Jin-Wook was attacked, and he quickly jumped on his head, but Jin-Wook's attack was again nothing. Jin-Wook was almost killed by him, his stamina was getting lower, and he was cornered, but again his mentality of wanting to continue to be strong kept on burning, making him never give up. The recovery skill was activated, and just in time Jin-Wook held the fangs of the monster that was about to eat him. Then Jin-Wook turned his head and repeatedly attacked him, and the monster was finally defeated. A message from the system appeared, his level increased greatly, and several items were also obtained from the monsters he defeated. The first item he gets is a necklace called a Warden's Necklace, which can increase agility and sense or detect. The second item that Jin-Wook got was a key to open the door of the Devil's Palace. And the third one he got canines. A gate is now in front of Jin-Wook. He now finds out that this is a demon palace and the monsters he defeated are only guarded. He hesitates to enter it and chooses to leave it first. At a sword practice site, Mr. Sun is shown again practicing with his student who is a rank S hunter. Even though his rank is lower and with a body that has lost his left hand, Mr. Sun's sword fighting skills are very good. Finished practicing, Mr. Sun received a call and accepted the invitation to raid this time. he will enter the dungeon rank D. Arriving at the location, Mr. Sun meets Jin-Wook. He was surprised to see Jin-Wook's physique that had changed. Mr. Sun was also surprised to see that Jin-Wook's legs were okay because he knew that Jin-Wook had lost one of his legs in the double dungeon event. It turns out that all of that is thanks to the effects of the system that Jin-Wook has. It wasn't just Mr. Sun, it turned out that the raid this time consisted of survivors of the double dungeon event. Juhi was seen there. Just like Mr. Sun, Juhi also feels foreign to the changes in Jin-Wook's body. There is also Mr. Kim and one other hunter. Mr. Kim and the other hunter's expressions were different. When they saw Jin-Wook, they felt ashamed and guilty because they had once left Jin-Wook alone in the dungeon. It turned out that they weren't the only ones in the raid this time, several other people were participating. From a car, 3 detainees who were hunters and 1 B-rank hunter named Gang T-Shik came out. It's not uncommon for convicts who are hunters to join raid, because it can reduce the time of imprisonment. Jin-Wook again felt something strange about the raid formation this time. T-Sik had talked to Mr. Sun that this convict was his responsibility. He also asked him to be the leader of this raid. In the end, everyone didn't mind Mr. Sun being chairman. Before entering the dungeon, Mr. Sun thanked Jin-Wook first. Thanks to him, there are still hunters who survived the double dungeon event. Now they all entered the dungeon. A group of lowly goblin monsters attacked, and the prisoners showed their fighting skills. Mr. Sun, who is a magic-type hunter, casts his fire magic and all the goblins are defeated easily. They were then faced with 3 passages. T-Sik said, because this dungeon contains low monsters, how about we just split up? And if we meet the boss, we will come back here and tell you immediately. T-Sik will take the road to the right with the convicts. Jin-Wook then sees a big aura in the left aisle. With Mr. Sun and Juhi, they take the left lane. And Mr. Kim and one other hunter went to the middle path. The look in T-Sik's eyes changed, and Jin-Wook grew more suspicious of him. The prisoners fight the goblin easily, but it turns out that T-Sik has other plans for the prisoner. Mr. Kim, who had defeated all the monsters, and between the battles they had time to talk that they wanted to apologize to Jin-Wook because they had left him in the double dungeon incident. They then continued their journey, and unexpectedly they met T-Sik in a place and saw that the convicts had all been killed by T-Sik. Jin-Wook then felt a high killer aura and invited his team to come back soon. They had just arrived when they were surprised by a sudden attack from T-Sik. Luckily, Jin-Wook managed to fend it off. T-Sik is surprised because this is the first time someone has been able to stop his speed. From a distance, he said, "I will kill all of you." It turns out that all of this was pre-planned by T-Sik. Before entering the dungeon, he received an assignment from someone to kill prisoners. The person who ordered him was a father whose child was a victim of cruelty by the prisoners. T-Sik doesn't care about it all. The most important thing is the high pay for the mission he has to do. T-Sik also said that at first there was no intention to kill you, but unexpectedly Hunter Kim saw the execution. So like it or not, T-Sik had to kill them to cover up his crimes. There, Jin-Wook was surprised to see Mr. Kim was dying. Juhi tried to help him, but unfortunately, a lot of blood had come out, making his magic not work. Jin-Wook continues to encourage Mr. Kim to live on. On the edge of his death, Mr. Kim told Jin-Wook, "I want to apologize by lowering my head, but that's impossible now. I just want you to forgive me." After that, Mr. Kim didn't breathe anymore. From afar, T-Sik said, "I will make up a good story for their death." Arrogantly, he also said, "I was an assassin-type hunter, so you couldn't match my speed." The enraged Mr. Sun started to fight back. Juhi from behind helped him with protection magic. Mr. Sun said that even though I am a magic-type hunter, I am a swordsman. In the twinkling of an eye, T-Sik attacked and was caught by Mr. Sun. Although the movement is good, the speed difference is far to overwhelm Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun was easily injured, but Juhi's backup was able to save him. T-Sik was furious and intended to target Juhi first, but again Mr. Sun put up a fight. T-Sik got serious and launched a barrage of attacks on Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun, who is cornered, can still fight back with his magic. T-Sik was slightly injured. He ran out of patience and was ready to stab Mr. Sun, but Jin-Wook quickly came and fended him off with his dagger. T-Sik was again amazed by Jin-Wook's movements and instincts. Not only T-Sik, but Mr. Sun and Juhi were also surprised to see Jin-Wook's ability now. T-Sik then said that was not the move of an E-rank hunter. "Who are you? You must be hiding your skills. I believe you have received multiple awakenings, but that doesn't change anything since my combat experience is no match for yours." T-Sik started to get serious. He took out his 2 knife blades, and his movements were fast and almost imperceptible. But Jin-Wook was again able to fend it off. Jin-Wook tries to attack, but his movements are not as fast as T-Sik's. They attack each other quickly. Mr. Sun and Ju could only be silent and could not see anything. T-Sik continues to provoke Jin-Wook. He says he wants to move quickly, but there's nothing wrong with this. Juhi from behind helps Jin-Wook. His speed and power are now increasing. The battle now looks even. T-Sik feels Juhi is again interfering and is about to attack him, but Mr. Sun came to visit him. Jin-Woo was caught off guard until finally several cuts hit Jin-Wook. T6's desire to kill is getting higher until an alarm from the system appears containing a mission to kill someone who endangers the player. Jin-Wook then said that this was just the beginning. Jin-Woo said that now there is no reason not to kill you. Super fast fights happen. You could say this is a fight between fellow hunter-type assassins, namely hunters who specialize in agility, speed, and knife play. The sprint skill was activated, and Jin-Woo's movement got faster. This time T6 couldn't avoid it. As a result, T6 was scratched. The paralysis skill was activated. Bleed skill was also activated. There he was silent and said the effect of your knife is interesting too. But you have to look at my skill too. From T6's body the effects of poison have been successfully neutralized. Right. His body slowly disappeared, his whereabouts now invisible. Jin-Woo panicked. Looking for his whereabouts, Jin-Woo was lucky to be able to fend off. With an invisible body, T6 says this is my greatest skill. No one has ever survived this one ability. Jin-Woo's leg was slashed making him unable to move. T6 came and prepared to give his final attack. But quickly Jin-Woo's recovery skill was activated. In an instant, the wound disappeared. T6 is again amazed by his abilities. Jin-Woo got up now, his instincts are getting sharper. Skills were used again, where unexpectedly Jin-Woo managed to fend off all directions of T6's attack. Jin-Woo couldn't see it but could feel T6's killing instinct, which made him know where his attack was headed. T6 attacked right in front, Jin-Woo opened his eyes, and the bloodless skill was activated. Instantly T6's body fell silent. He is now in his subconscious. T6 sees endless darkness. In this situation, Jin-Woo easily managed to stab him. At the end of his death, T6 said, "Who are you? A ranky type assassin who has healer abilities and bad effects? I've never heard of that. Your shadow connects with darkness." His big mouth keeps on babbling. Paralysis skill is activated. Bleed skill is also activated. T6 is then defeated. A message from the system appears. Mission completion rewards will be given. An item is then obtained by Jin-Wook. The item is a stone that contains the power of a defeated opponent. By destroying the stone, the skill embedded in this stone will be accepted by the player. After the fight was over, Mr. Sun and Joo-hee approached Jin-Wook and thanked him for helping him. Mr. Sun says, "What will you do now?" Jin-Woo just said, "I will defeat the boss first and close this dungeon forever." Mr. Sun always says again, "Okay, I'll wait outside and we'll report this to the union together." Jin-Woo moved and unexpectedly there was one prisoner who was still alive and pretended to be dead. Jin-Woo then took him with him to the boss's room. Jin-Woo then said, "Make up for all your bad behavior here. I will not bring a cruel person like you out." The goblins attacked him to death, after which Jin-Woo easily defeated the boss. The dungeon is now closed forever and news of T6's death spreads. The vice guild leader came to the location and asked what had happened in the dungeon. They couldn't believe that someone like T6, who was known to be brutal, could be defeated. Jin-Chil meets Jin-Woo again and almost doesn't recognize him because his physical changes are quite far. Jin-Woo saw the aura of strength. Deep down this person is strong. Maybe rank of the current me will not be able to pass it. Jin-Chil there said that the union has taken care of the person who ordered T6 to be arrested immediately. "I'm sorry, our member T6 tried to hurt you. It's beyond our control. I also now want to know who killed T6 in this dungeon." In his heart, Jin-Woo thought maybe his fighting journey should end here and spend his days behind bars. But Mr. Sun firmly said that I was the one who had killed T6. "I am a hunter rank C, but I am assisted by a hunter healer rank B." Jin-Chil then said, "Okay, Mr. Sun, now come with me along with the others to fill out the investigator's report." Jin-Woo then had time to talk to Mr. Sun. "Why did you lie and protect me?" Mr. Sun replies, "I think you have a reason why you are hiding your ability. Keep fighting, at least this is what I can do as a thank you because you have saved my life twice." Before the investigators left, Jin-Chil said to Jin-Woo, "I won't suspect anything from you, but you have to be careful now because maybe your life and Jin-Ho are in danger. Because a rank S hunter named Dong-Soo might take revenge on you, knowing that his older brother had been killed." They all finished their investigation before they separated. Joo-H still kept the memento that Jin-Woo had given him. There Joo-hee returned it, and a little nostalgic. Joo-hee then said, "I was a timid person to become a hunter. From now on I decided to retire from the world of hunter and will return to my hometown." Joo-hee thanked Jin-Woo very much for helping me. Jin-Woo accepted Joo-hee's decision, then said goodbye and left Jin-Wook. Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho's plan to create a guild has started, and the two of them are now recruiting the newest 8 hunters. Unexpectedly, they were all hunters who were in trouble. Some were injured and drunk, school children and others. This made Jin-Woo feel astonished. Jin-Ho then told them, "Now you just need to wait outside until the two of us return from the dungeon. You are only a complement to the 10 hunter requirements from the guild regulations. According to the contract, each of you will get 3 millionaires for each raid. And don't tell anyone what you saw and heard during the raid." They were all confused as to whether they were that strong for daring to enter a crank dungeon alone. The two of them entered the dungeon, the remaining hunters waited outside, and in no time they made it out of the dungeon. The hunters waiting outside were shocked to see that the dungeon would be closed forever, a sign the boss has been defeated. They can't believe seeing all this. Jin-Ho excitedly said, let's head to the next 2 dungeons. It turned out that all the C-rank dungeons had been purchased by Jin-Ho from the guild at a great price, so other guilds or anyone has no right to enter it. Jin-Ho's behavior suddenly made people in the guild department commotion, one of whom was a hunter investigator from the What Tiger Guild. He says, what the hell is all this? Find out about them both. After learning about Jin-Woo, the investigator said something was wrong with him. What kind of strength? He thought this could become a business area. He must be hiding great abilities. He said to his assistant, we have to meet Jin-Woo. We have to look for Ririnya first. Jin-Woo made his second raid. In the dungeon this time he has skills thanks to the victory against T-Sick. The monsters were easily defeated. His level continues to rise. He also gets a new skill called Vital Strike. This skill is an active skill that can target and deliver a fatal attack on the enemy's vital area. The second new skill is Advanced Dagger Arts, which will increase the ability of the knife and increase the attack on the knife. The more Jin-Woo fought, the more his level continued to rise and get stronger. The monsters are even now afraid of Jin-Woo just looking at it. A message from the system appeared containing an offer to carry out a mysterious mission. Jin-Woo wondered what kind of mission this was because it was unusual to get a mission like this. His level was now 39 with several strengths that continued to increase. The 2 investigators from the War Tiger Guild then arrived at the raid site Jin-Woo. They were both surprised to see his client lounging outside. This is more accurately called a playground. A young hunter girl then said, you are not allowed to enter here. We are hunters who are waiting for our leader to come out of the dungeon. And soon Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho came out of the dungeon. And again the dungeon was closed forever. The investigator was shocked by what he saw. His instincts were not wrong for Jin-Woo. Immediately the investigator approached Jin-Woo and made acquaintances. Then the 2 of them went to a cafe. Without further ado the investigator said, would you like to join the White Tiger Guild? We'll pay double what Jin-Ho gave us. Jin-Woo then said, can you afford 600 billion because Jin-Ho paid me 300 billion. The investigator was shocked by this fact and said it was beyond our capabilities. Jin-Woo then left, but there he suspected why he suddenly asked him to join. He activated his skills and scratched his face with an invisible body. Jin-Woo then asked, if you had investigated me, what do you know? The investigator replied, I realized you have great strength because it is impossible by chance that you survived 3 great events and you cleared a C-rank dungeon quickly. It's not an ordinary power, you must be hiding your power. Jin-Woo then said, who knows more about me? The investigator answered, only me and my assistant. Jin-Woo then said again, I don't want others to know about my abilities, you have to keep all this a secret. It turned out that the speed at which Jin-Woo cleared the dungeon caused an uproar among the other guilds. The investigator cannot raid his members. Jin-Woo then apologized for making a fuss. He then intended to sell the 3 C-rank gates that we have at a high price, and the investigator was forced to agree. Jin-Woo left, but before that, he gave him an item to heal the wound on his cheek. It didn't take long for Jin-Woo to give the investigator a message, even though he was annoyed that he had to spend money to buy the dungeon. But it's worth it to be able to get Jin-Woo's phone number. Jin-Woo remembered the mysterious mission he received. He then went alone into a mountain. A different gate appeared, and without hesitation, he entered it. After going through the gate now he is in a large room like a palace. Jin-Woo is faced with soldiers clad in iron. A system message appears that you cannot leave the dungeon before defeating all monsters. In this medicine area, the store of the system will be locked. There is no recovery after leveling up. Jin-Woo thinks he should be able to manage his energy so it doesn't run out. Jin-Woo then fought the soldier easily. He wondered why he could be defeated so easily. There are no special abilities from this warrior, only having hard armor and slow movements. An item obtained by Jin-Woo in the form of armor that can increase defensive abilities. He also got a bag containing 30,000 gold after defeating this warrior. From a distance, the soldiers continued to arrive in large numbers. Without hesitation, Jin-Woo began to attack. But he was surprised by an invisible attack. He was surprised that there were also assassin-type monsters who had the ability still. He said this is very troublesome. From above now has come to a witch with the power of fire. Jin-Woo was increasingly panicked. From different directions, archers were also seen who were ready to attack Jin-Woo. From afar, Jin-Woo felt that this place was very dangerous, but he had no choice but to defeat them all. For a moment, Jin-Woo thought he should use different skills for each monster to be more efficient in each of his attacks. Strike vitality skills for magicians, strength for knights, sense for assassins, and agility for archers. Jin-Woo was overwhelmed because he had to be smart and quick to use his skills in this fight. And regret fell on Jin-Woo because he didn't add the points given by the system for intelligence too often. Jin-Woo started his attack. He succeeded in overthrowing several monsters. The longer he fights, the more he runs out of energy, and the monsters he has to face are never quick enough to be defeated. Even when Jin-Woo was about to sleep to recover his energy, they didn't give him a chance. With 66 remaining energy, Jin-Woo managed to defeat all the monsters that attacked simultaneously. The system then gave him minerals to overcome his fatigue and several items were obtained. Jin-Woo in the fight this time also got abundant gold with recovered stamina. He kept walking and arrived at a gate where he felt the cold that made his soul goosebumps. He opened it, he realized he was now in the king's room. A warrior in red armor came welcoming. It is the guardian of this room. Looking at the soldiers in front of him, Jin-Woo remembered the frightening sensation of being in the double dungeon. The knight was named the Igris Blood Red Commander, a monster knight protecting the king's empty seat. Jin-Woo looked at him and felt a high power aura on this knight. Now you are faced with an enemy knight in red who has a terrible power aura. The knight came to attack, and Jin-Woo managed to dodge. One slash of his sword could destroy a solid pillar. Jin-Woo attacked with dagger but was unable to penetrate his armor. The knight came back against a big explosion that occurred. Lucky Jin-Woo managed to avoid it. But the knight's movement was fast. Jin-Woo began to be overwhelmed and said that this knight has speed, strength, and strong defense. Jin-Woo thought that if dagger couldn't hurt him, the only way would be to fight against each other. From far away, the knight also kept his sword away, and now the two of them are fighting fairly knight style. The knight came to attack. Because the attack was fast, Jin-Woo didn't have time to dodge. As a result, he was thrown hard and Jin-Woo was repeatedly attacked. A huge explosion occurs. He is in pain and says he is strong even without a sword. Jin-Woo tried to attack with his speed. The sprint skill was activated but the hit meant nothing. The knight can also keep up with Jin-Woo's speed. Jin-Woo began to be pushed back but was still able to fight back. Jin-Woo's leg was grabbed and Jin-Wook was hit so hard that his body was thrown far and fell on the king's chair. His little heart said, "Could this be the end of my life?" The knight is now near him, and with his skill, he takes the stuck sword. Now in the hand, with Jin-Woo's neck in front of him. But quickly Jin-Woo resisted with the skill given to his hand. That skill can reduce the physical attack received by the hand. He quickly took out a dagger and stabbed it next to his eye. As soon as Jin-Woo pushed him away, the knight managed to remove the dagger from his eye. But with skill, Jin-Woo can remove the dagger and return it to his hand. Jin-Woo then stabbed the knight's neck with a combination of vital strike skills, and with all his strength he continued to push the knight deep inside. After that, the knight was unable to fight anymore, and a message from the system appeared. The knight was defeated, and his level continued to rise. After the fight, Jin-Woo trembled. He said, "I almost died here. Only my luck could beat him, because technically I lost far from him." Several items are also obtained after defeating this knight. First, he got an item called a Red Knight Helmet. This item can reduce the attack that the head receives and can also increase stamina and strength. Second, he gets a Run Stone with the Dominator Touch skill, where it can control items without touching them. The three Jin-Woo get abundant gold, and another one gets a Heartstone that can be used to leave the dungeon he is currently walking. Jin-Woo wonders why he got Heartstone. He thinks that this knight is not the boss of this dungeon. There must be someone stronger in a difficult situation. Before he had time to rest, Jin-Woo was shocked by a mysterious gate in front of him. A message from the system appears stating that the job change mission will begin. The longer you survive, the more points you get and put you in a higher job. Time was immediately executed by the system. A monster figure came out from inside the gate was a soldier. Not only one turned out continuously, but the soldiers also came out from inside the gate because this was just a survival mission. Jin-Woo thought he shouldn't go through it. Skills activated, he intended to hide, but unexpectedly there was also a magician who could use detection skills. Jin-Woo's whereabouts were known. The soldiers then attacked, and Jin-Woo gave a hard blow. Skill glass activated. The effect is working. He has 1 minute before the effect wears off. Jin-Woo thought this was a good opportunity to defeat many monsters. Even though many monsters have been defeated, the soldiers who came out of the gate came faster than the number of soldiers Jin-Woo defeated. Here Jin-Wook was overwhelmed in his panic. He said, "I had underestimated the mission this time. This was too dangerous." He was also surprised because he only got 5 minutes. Jin-Woo is now in a difficult situation. He then decides to use a Hearthstone to get out of the dungeon. But the soldiers there did not give him a chance. The Hearthstone slipped from Jin-Woo's grasp. Now he was lying in front of the army of soldiers. It wouldn't be Jin-Woo's name if it had to end like this. Immediately he got up, then jumped and felled several soldiers. But there are still many warriors to defeat. His mental state began to decline for a moment. He remembered his previous battle journey, how the title of the weakest delivery was always pinned on him. He always felt that he was being belittled. In the darkness of his heart, suddenly the weak figure of Jin-Woo appeared before him. The figure said, "Why did you used to continue to force fight even though you were always on the verge of death?" Jin-Woo was surprised to see that he could talk to himself. The figure said again, "Your appearance does change and get stronger, but here you are still a loser, and in the end, you will feel on the verge of death again." The soldiers continued to brutally beat Jin-Woo. The reduced energy and the increasing number of monsters made Jin-Woo able to be defeated. Jin-Woo, there could only lie down with half his consciousness. A soldier ready to give the final blow to him, Jin-Woo fell again while in the double dungeon. Jin-Woo is now unable to do anything and is on the verge of death. An alarm from the system appears containing a penalty for not completing the daily mission. Time countdown. Jin-Woo's weak figure was annoyed and said, "You're lucky this time." 1 second before the warrior delivers his final strike, the punishment mission begins. Jin-Woo managed to survive his death when he realized that he was now in the middle of the desert. Suddenly, he was surprised to know the situation this time. He just remembered that today he had not completed his daily mission. In silence, Jin-Woo was grateful and again felt like a lucky person. This luck allowed Jin-Woo to recover before he returned there. In this place, the store of the system can be used. Jin-Woo immediately bought items to restore his condition. Jin-Woo excitedly said this was a good opportunity to be able to level up before returning to that dreadful dungeon. An alarm from the system appears containing a mission to survive for 4 hours from monster attacks. Different from when he first came here, he just kept running and hiding. This time he fought all the giant centipede monsters that kept appearing in front of him. With all the skills he has, the centipede monster is easily defeated. His level rose by leaps and bounds, remaining 3 minutes before he returned to the dreadful dungeon. He thought the dagger monster was not very efficient to use. He needed something to defeat the warriors. Then Jin-Woo opened the store on the system and searched for a weapon there. He found a weapon called Night Killer. With an abundance of gold, expensive prices are not a problem. A dagger is obtained by Jin-Woo. The effect of this weapon will increase the attack by 25% when used on enemies with armor. Jin-Woo also bought a bandage to tie his hands with daggers so they wouldn't fall off. He then took out the runestone he had just gotten. Jin-Woo thought this would be very useful. Then he destroyed the stone, and now a new skill called Dominator Touch is obtained, where the effect of this skill can control items without touching them. The punishment mission has ended, and now Jin-Woo returns to the dungeon. There he was immediately confronted with an army of soldiers in increased number. The soldiers began to attack, and with increased levels and skills coupled with the new dagger, the soldiers there were now easily defeated. Interrupted by the battle, Jin-Woo thought about why his level didn't rise even though he had defeated many soldiers. There was something strange about this fight. He felt that only soldiers were attacking him, and this must be magic. The moment he saw the gate, he realized this was summoning magic. No matter how much I defeat this warrior, there will be no end. I must find the summoner. In between his fight with the soldiers, he saw a magician from afar. Jin-Woo said that the witch must be the summoner. Skills are activated, and a new skill is then used by Jin-Woo called Dagger Throw. Accurately, his dagger managed to hit the witch. Some plant warriors by themselves. Jin-Woo then hid with his stealth skills, but the magicians managed to find him with detection skills. And unknowingly, the witch detector made Jin-Woo also feel Eve's existence. 5 wizards were seen by Jin-Woo. Skill Dominator Touch activated his dagger back to hand. One wizard was approached, his fighting spirit was burning up, and the other magicians kept hiding behind the soldiers. Without fear, Jin-Woo fought the soldiers who were blocking him. The skill Dominator Touch activated on the soldier, a frightening effect. Jin-Woo continued to fight non-stop. The combination of his several skills made most of the warriors defeated. One more magician was found, the Dominator Touch skill was activated, and the magician was successfully attracted. One slash managed to defeat him. The 3 witches who were hiding then combined the strength of the soldiers into one giant monster or golem. The golem's one strike can create a huge explosion. Jin-Woo managed to dodge, and in a puff of smoke, Jin-Woo came out and ran. There he found the remains of 3 magicians. With his speed, Jin-Woo gave one slash that made the 3 magicians defeated. All soldiers fell by themselves. System message appears: all monsters have been defeated. The mission ended and managed to survive for 4.5 hours. The system will analyze the battle and assign a suitable job. Jin-Woo thought he would get a job as an assassin because he had speed and was a hunter who used dagger to fight. The system does not give a choice of jobs and continues to analyze. Jin-Woo keeps guessing what kind of job will be accepted. The system finishes analyzing and gives a message: wherever the player goes, the killer will follow. Players' fighting paths were littered with corpses and blood. The player has the power to single-handedly slay enemies and a burning desire to summon the dead. All the armies of death will follow your orders and form your laws in ways without the help of others. Job Mu is a necromancer or death troop. Jin-Woo was shocked by all this. He said, "What kind of job is this? It has nothing to do with his fighting skills and experience." Necromancer is a class in the magic category. The ability of necromancers can summon monsters from other realms and form an army of their own as desired. Jin-Wook said to himself that the necromancer type should be the type that almost completely gives up fighting his army of monsters. The skill and level that he got now should lead to the job of an assassin. But why is the system giving this? Jin-Woo tried to calm down and cool his head. He thought on the positive side. If he takes this job, maybe I can make my army as the system said. But it won't make the summoned monster stronger. The status level that I have raised so far is useless. The system gave a choice whether to accept or not, but Jin-Woo refused. The system then replies, necromancer is a hidden class, is he sure to refuse? Jin-Wook again thought that if it was a hidden class it was a unique and rare ability that could become a powerful ability. He knew a hunter rank S named Baekhyun-ho from the White Tiger Guild. You could say he entered the hunter hidden class because he had a unique power. His body can turn into a beast. Hunters with hidden class are employed with large guilds and have power. There Jin-Woo was still confused. He saw the corpse of a magician and thought again. This wizard has skills like a necromancer but doesn't have good fighting skills. While this system kept on directing me to improve my fighting skills, it meant that the summoned beasts might also get stronger and level up like myself. If that's true, this is no longer solo leveling later. A message from the system appears, clear job, Mu has been selected as a necromancer. Based on the points obtained from the survival mission this time, Jin-Woo will be promoted to a higher class. The accumulated points total exceeds expectations. You will be promoted from necromancer to shadow monarch. Jin-Woo was surprised that the accumulation of points could make him instantly level up. Instantly a black aura enveloped Jin-Woo's body. A system message appeared. His current status was that of a shadow monarch with the title of one who had passed through the tribulation. With the current status of his job, Jin-Woo can now feel the aura of a corpse. He starts hearing screams of pain from the corpses. The system aimed at the soldier's corpse said shadow extraction could be used on this target. Jin-Woo thinks it must be a skill used to make corpses into summoned beasts. Issue an order or speech to use the skill shadow extraction. Jin-Woo then said arise. Instantly the corpses released a black aura from within their bodies. The aura gathered and changed form, a lifeless form with the same skill as when he was alive. They are called shadow soldiers, and the great thing about these shadow soldiers, they will continue to regenerate if defeated. Where energy from the player will be taken to remove the shadow troops, the soldiers are successfully extracted. The magician succeeded in extracting a total of 30 shadow warriors, now becoming Jin-Woo's troops. The system appears you have reached a maximum of 30 shadow extraction. Jin-Woo then remembered the Red Knight. He said, can he be extracted? The system informed him that this target could be extracted. If you want to use it on this target, you have to remove the other shadow troops with a skill called extraction cancel. Shadows that have been cancelled extraction will be sent to the afterlife. Jin-Woo then approached the shadow of the soldier there, and he said, I will release the 11 weakest soldiers. I'm sorry for calling you. 11 shadows extraction was cancelled by Jin-Woo. He then approached the Red Knight's corpse. He said arise. A large black aura came out of it and hit Jin-Wook. The knight refused, and the shadow failed to extract. 2 extract opportunities remain. Jin-Woo said it was difficult because this monster had a higher level than the soldiers earlier and the time of death was also long. Second chance used, rise. Again the knight refused. Jin-Woo thought hard, then he looked at the empty chair in this room and thought he was a knight loyal to his master. Even though he was gone, Jin-Woo then said to him, stop protecting the seat of someone who has left and try to protect me, the person who is in front of you. Arise. A black aura of great power came out of the knight's body, a hand with black claws and an aura of great power. The knight was successfully extracted. Jin-Woo smiled and said, now your name is Igris. A message from the system appears, this shadow has been upgraded. This shadow level becomes 7. The shadow troops gathered and bowed to Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo was amazed by what he had now. He then said to them, take care of yourselves. After completing the mission, Jin-Woo went straight to his house. He looked sleep deprived. Sleeping well, Jin-Ah called because today Jin-Woo was told to meet his teacher. Before going there, Jin-Woo stopped by the salon first, then stopped by the bank to open a new account. Now Jin-Woo's finances have improved. After that, Jin-Woo went to school with his new hair look. All the female students were now in awe of his charisma. Jin-Woo then met Jin-Ah's teacher and chatted a bit about Jin-Ah going to major in health after graduating from school. The teacher also knew that Jin-Woo was a hunter. The teacher intends to ask Jin-Wook for help because one of his students who is also Jin-Ah's friend is a hunter. He was too obsessed to the point that he didn't want to go to school anymore and focused on hunting for a lot of money. The teacher wants Jin-Woo to persuade him to finish school first until graduation. The girl's name was Hwang Sunai. She was a hunter rank E. Jin-Woo then remembered that there was a schoolboy on his team too. Somewhere they met. Jin-Woo then said Korea was narrow. From there Hwang Sunai answered what the chairman was doing there. I'm Jin-Ah's brother. You must be Hwang Sunai. Your teacher has told me to advise you. Sunai say again, I don't know what my teacher said to you, but I don't plan to go back to school and I will continue to hunt. Jin-Woo then advised him that an E-rank hunter like you would be of no use in the raid. You need expensive magic weapons to fight. You will die if only with your bare hands. Fighting equipment is also expensive and breaks quickly. You can't afford it. Hunter world is not a fun business to earn money. Sunai, a little angry, replied, just stop your talk. Your leader is also a hunter rank E, but you continue to fight. This girl is stubborn. It's not enough just to talk. Jin-Woo then said, now come with me, I will make you a great hunter. On the other hand, Hwang Dong-suk has now arrived in Korea. At Dong-suk Airport, Jin Chul immediately greeted him. The arrogant Dong-suk then said, "What kind of business the vice chairman of the supervisor come to greet me?" Jin-chul replied that it was my duty as the oversight department to keep an eye on you. What's more, you're a hunter rank S who just arrived in Korea. Dong-suk arrogantly said, "So you're still working as Gun-hee's right-hand man. If I were you, I would cut off his hand. Anyways, I'm not long here. After my business is done, I will immediately return to America." Jin-chul asked if it was about hunters named Sung Jin-Woo and Yoo Jin-ho. If yes, can you stop me? Jin-chul couldn't answer. He remembered the old tragedy where Hwang Dong-suk and his brother used to raid together a lot. The monitoring team suspects that they have killed many hunters in the past, but they can escape the law because there is no evidence and no one is stopping Dong-suk. They are both crazy people with treasures, especially Dong-suk. Dong-suk decides to go and join as a hunter in a well-known guild called Scavenger in America. All of that is sole because of money. Jin-chul in his heart said they are annoying trash. Back to the story, Jin-woo now invites Sunai to meet with the supervisor of the White Tiger. The investigator's name was On. He happily complied with the request of Jin-woo, who wanted to join the raid with his members. In his heart, On said although he said he wanted to train his team members, but this would be a good chance to show the strength of the White Tiger Guild. And hopes that Jin-woo will be interested and want to join. The gate that they will go through this time is rank CC. This time it is led by a rank A tank type hunter named Kim Chul. A total of 14 hunters in this raid. Sunai excitedly said, "Come on, let's go inside." Jin-woo said to himself that he will know the abilities of other hunters with you. With a burning spirit, Kim Chul said, "It's not here for picnics, but it's serious, let's go inside." They entered the dungeon. There Jin-woo felt something was wrong with the gate this time. The gate suddenly turned red. On from the outside was shocked and felt a great power. They realized this gate had turned into a red gate. This was very dangerous. On immediately called the guild leader for help. In his office, the leader of the White Tiger Guild named Baekuno, who was a hunter rank S, said I would go there to check on him. On the other hand, Dong-suk is in the car with Jin-chul. Jin-chul said, "Where are you going now?" Duk-so answered, "I want to go to a dungeon. I got the news that Jin-woo entered a dungeon. We'll be there and you don't ever get in my way." Jin-chul can't refuse because he knows the risks involved in dealing with Dong-suk. Baek-yeon-ho arrived first. He was shocked to see this rare event. He says, "This is a red gate. I also can't break through it because this gate is closed by a great force. Now we can only wait." He asked On who was inside. On answered, 12 hunters with Chairman Kim Chul and Jin-woo and Sunai. Jin-woo is my target hunter to join our guild. This is just my speculation, but I realized Jin-woo has a great power hidden. Soon, Dong-suk and Jin-chul also arrived at the location. Suddenly the others were surprised to see Dong-suk's arrival. Dong-suk said, "A long time no see, Yunho." Daddy hunter named Jin-woo entered the Mu guild. "What did you think when you asked him to join? Hunter is useless." Yun-ho got irritated. He turned like an animal and said, "I don't know what you mean, but go." Dong-suk then approached the red gate. He was annoyed because he was so far away that he was blocked by the red gate so he could meet Jin-wook. He then said, "It was a shame I didn't get to see the body. They would all die there." Yun-ho was curious. In his heart he said who Jin-woo was. Why do great people know about it? But right now I'm more worried about my men since this is a red gate. Maybe in this dungeon it could be a desert with hot temperatures or a forest filled with poisonous monsters. It could even be a snowy area with extreme temperatures. The hunters who entered the dungeon were all shocked by the current situation. They are now in a forest area with extreme snow and temperatures. The gate they passed through has now disappeared. A surprise attack was launched. Fortunately, Jin-woo managed to hold it off. One hunter was hit and everyone panicked. Jin-woo didn't feel the monster even nearby. The other hunters then saw two figures from the top of the tree. They were archers from the Ice Elf faction. Jin-woo then realized something. They have sharp eyes and they are also smart because they can see the weak hunters here. They only targeted weak hamsters. The elf was about to attack again. Jin-woo released his powerful aura. The elves realized Jin-woo's great strength. Then they decided to leave. Kim Chul firmly says that now we are stranded and in a difficult situation. The gate we are going through is the red gate. Our only choice is to survive until the gate opens itself or defeats the leader of this place. Maybe we have to wait months for the gate to open again. I can't guarantee your safety. Even though I'm strong, I will find it difficult to control large numbers of people. For that, we will form a team and split up. Jin-woo and the other hunters were shocked to hear those words, and they then scrambled to join Kim Chul's team. They thought it would be safe to join him, but Kim Chul didn't want to take a weak hunter with him. Weak hunters will only be a burden. A female hunter chose to join Jin-woo. The girl said to Jin-woo, "You are not an E rank, I saw it." With that, the team was divided into two teams. The team was then split in two, and Kim Chul teams decided to follow the path. And Jin-wook's team chose to enter the forest. During his trip, Kim Chul said to himself that there is no hope of survival for the other team. They won't be able to fight the monsters that are here. Hope you guys have good luck. Not long after that, an ice bear is now in front of them. Kim Chol excitedly said, "Come attack us." The bear attacked, and Kim Chol held back with his proud shield, which made the bear's claws bend. One slash of his axe was able to uproot the bear. He also killed several bears alone. The other hunters are happy and say, "We will not die if we are with Kim Chol, he is a great hunter." Jin-Woo's team entered the forest. This place is the territory of an ice bear. The woman's name is Hyojin. Hyojin then said to Jin-Woo that we shouldn't go into the forest. "We have to go back soon. It's too dangerous. Why did you decide to enter the forest?" Jin-Woo replied that since this is the ice bear territory, we only need to worry about the ice bears. The bears are easier to beat than having to deal with the elves. Jin-Woo then gave his members warm clothes. The other hunters were surprised at who you were. How could you use that magic? Interrupted by the conversation, an ice bear appeared in front of them. Hyojin came forward and said, "I'll divert it. You guys are looking for a gap to be able to topple this bear." Jin-Woo then came forward and said, "I will say it clearly. I will hunt the monster alone. You guys just watch." The bear attacked, and Jin-Woo jumped with his new status and increasing level. One punch with his bare hand was enough to knock the bear down. The other hunters were stunned to see it. Level up, bear meat became their meal. Now I feel lucky to be in Team Jin-Wook. Some bears can even be defeated with bare hands. Interrupted by the conversation, Jin-Woo said goodbye to go to practice because he had not completed his daily mission. After completing his daily mission, Jin-Woo said it was time to hunt. Now Jin-Woo came to the den of the bears there. He was immediately greeted by a group of ice bears. Without trembling, Jin-Woo said, "Get out." Jin-Woo's shadow widened from his shadow. The shadow soldiers came out, and Jin-Woo said again, "This is your first mission, go ahead." The bears came charging. A few slashes from the shadow soldiers easily knocked the bears down. Jin-Woo was impressed and said their strength was amazing. Even if the shadow soldiers were defeated, the soldiers would regenerate continuously and quickly, as long as Jin-Woo had enough mana to summon him. Jin-Woo was again amazed and said that their regeneration was crazy. It was almost equivalent to immortality. During the fight, a bear of the largest size came. It was the leader. Jin-Wook's shadow soldier was destroyed easily. Jin-Woo smiled and said, "Igris, go ahead." Igris started to attack. He slashed the bear's leg quickly. His movements were fast and agile. Igris stabbed the bear's hand and then slashed it. The movement and ability of the sword were so frightening, Jin-Woo was stunned to see it. In his heart, Jin-Woo said, "I had no chance of living if Igris had used its sword." The British kept attacking him from all directions. Now the bear is helpless. Igris' last attack succeeded in slashing the bear's head off. Igris then brought the bear's head to Jin-Wook. Jin-Wook approached the corpses of the bears. There he said, "Rise up." Instantly, a black aura came out. The bear shadows were successfully extracted and became his new shadow troops. Kim Chol is in a difficult situation now. His axe is broken and his shield is also destroyed. Now they were dealing with the ice goblin monsters. Kim Chol couldn't believe he couldn't fight the monster. All of his members screamed for help. Kim Chol is powerless again and now has to face again with the newly arrived elf troops. All of Kim Chol's members were dead. He had no choice but to run away because the elves came with their leader. The Hunter Association had been waiting outside for 3 hours, which meant the hunters had been in the dungeon for 3 days. Those outside continued to worry about the safety of the hunters. Yuno said to On that in the worst case, they would not survive. First, they have to adapt to the environment that is there. Both of them must have sufficient food supplies. Now we can only hope that Kim Chol can defeat the boss there. Your hunter acquaintance named Sung Jin-Wook is now unreliable. Hwang Dong-suk was getting bored and said, "So Jin-Woo is not a member of your guild, but why is he here?" On replied, "I won't say much, he just asked to join the raid and I agreed." Yunho and Dong-soo realized that On was covering up something about Jin-Woo. With a quick movement, Dong-suk strangles On. Dong-suk says, "I feel something fishy here, what are you hiding?" Yunho didn't stay silent. He immediately grabbed Dong-suk's hand and said, "Let go of my members." Dong-soo is angry and emits a strong aura. The two S-rank hunters are now facing each other. An aura of intense power surrounds the location. Yunho prepared with his clawed hands. Dong-suk is also ready to attack. They then attack simultaneously. A huge explosion occurred. Fortunately, Jin Chul managed to hold off the fight this time. But as a result, his hands were in pain after enduring both of their strengths. Jin Chil then said, "I will say something about Jin-Wook. I used to suspect him of receiving a double resurrection. But after I tested it with a strength detector, it was still low." Dong-suk arrogantly answered, "I know that, but I suspect Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho prepared a trap that made my older brother die. I still won't stop looking for them. Now that I'm not in the mood, I'm going to leave here." Inside the dungeon, Kim Chol managed to escape from the attacks of the elves. He kept walking all day with his food supply running out. On his way, he saw a group of dead bears. He said this was the path the other team had taken. The great hunter Hyojin can beat all of these. I have to find them soon. Then Kim Chol found them busy chatting with enough equipment and food. Kim Chol was angry in his heart, saying, "They are only lowly hunters, why are they still alive?" Kim Chol walked up to them and spitefully, He said, damn, I almost died due to lack of food and equipment. Who has hidden these tools and food? Confess or I'll cut you down. Hyejin replied angrily, you who have the heart to let us weak survive. And you came here to get angry without knowing the real situation. Kim Chul could not accept that his pride was being lowered, and he then took out his sword. From behind, Jin-Woo came, and he gave a little punch. Kim Chul's body was thrown far away. Jin-Woo said, you're the one who let us die, suddenly became a burden. Not long after, Jin-Woo felt a great power. He then said that your energy is very strong, don't hide. A large group of elites with their leader then came towards them. Now Jin-Woo is in a difficult situation because he has to deal with the elves. The Elf King said there was one strong man among the trash. Jin-Woo answered, who did you call trash? Suddenly the Elf King was surprised why Jin-Woo can understand the language. Even Jin-Woo himself realized that he could understand their language. You're amazing enough to understand our language. I'll introduce the elf who attacked you earlier. You must know him, he wants to fight you. Before the king could finish speaking, the elf's head was already detached with one slash. Jin-Woo said, you talk too much. The Elf King just smiled. Jin-Woo then attacked with dagger but was caught. The Elf King looked at Jin-Woo with a different look. He said, even though you are not human, why are you on the side of humans? In the heads of our monsters, there is a voice constantly telling us to kill humans, and I didn't hear that voice when I saw you. Jin-Woo was confused and said to himself, is that sound the same as a system command? What do they mean? Am I not human? The Elf King said again, the two of us don't need to fight. I don't want any needless sacrifices. Leave the humans behind you and I will spare you. Suddenly Jin-Woo was angry to hear that. He said, I want to ask you who you are, where you come from, and what reason made you want to kill humans. Just as the Elf King was about to reply, suddenly his mind was clouded as if there was something that shouldn't be said. Jin-Woo realized it. He kept thinking about this. The Elf King then made a final offer, but Jin-Woo refused. So you want to side with the humans? You'll regret it if you have to fight us. My army numbers win over you. Jin-Woo casually answered, what you said with numbers, get out. Shadow soldiers came out of Jin-Woo's shadow. The other hunters were shocked by the appearance of the shadow soldiers. One hunter trembled and said, who you are, Jin-Woo. The two armies fought each other, the bear shadow came to attack, and a fierce battle ensued. Shadows are destroyed but continue to regenerate rapidly. Most of the elves were defeated, the battle looked quite even. Jin-Woo said from afar that the king looks strong. I hesitate to fight him. Even with Igris, I need another strong warrior. Jin-Woo saw a sword and threw it at Kim Chul, who was unconscious. Now the Elf King and Jin-Woo faced each other. My name is Baruka. What's your name? I'm Jin-Woo. Their fight started, and Jin-Woo took out his dagger and jumped. His one slash was avoided by Baruka. Jin-Woo's fast attack was launched but was easily parried by him. Another dagger took out and attacked, again only managed to fend it off. Baruka attacked Jin-Wook's body and kicked him with his knee until he was thrown far away. The Shadow Magician helped them take out the fire and attack Baruka's body. On the other hand, Kim Chul was already aware. He was still filled with anger at Jin-Woo. Kim Chul then took a sword that was nearby. He intended to kill Jin-Woo. Meanwhile, on the other hand, fire attacks did not work on Baruka. From a cloud of smoke, Baruka came out. He ran and attacked Jin-Woo from the front. And now from behind, Kim Chul also attacked Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo then said, I've been waiting for this moment. Igris came out. In a flash, Igris came out and her sword stuck in Kim Chul's body. Kim Chul, on the verge of death, said, damn you, Jin-Wook. Kim Chul then died there. Baruka stopped and smiled at the incident. You're a human who attracted Jin-Woo. Baruka attacks again, and Igris fights him. During the fight, Jin-Woo approached Kim Chul's dead body. There he said, arise. There was a roaring sound with a large black aura coming out of Kim Chul's body. A large body holding a large shield and axe. Kim Chul was successfully extracted, and Jin-Woo was amazed by Kim Chul's shadow. Jin-Woo then said, your name is now Iron. The red light was released from within Iron's body. A skill called Taunting Cry was used. Baruka was affected by the effect that made him successfully provoked. Igris was knocked down by Baruka. Baruka attacked again, and Iron managed to block his attack with a shield. Iron counterattacked. Baruka managed to dodge. Igris revived again and jumped from behind Iron. And the other side of Jin-Woo also prepared to attack. Igris drew its sword. Jin-Woo succeeded in injuring Baruka. The paralysis skill was activated, and the bleed skill was also activated. Baruka's powerful dagger Rasaka effect was successfully cancelled. Jin-Woo paused and said, you are very strong, but look at you now. Your troops are not left anymore. You are outnumbered now. Baruka was getting angry. He attacked again. Jin-Woo threw his dagger far away. Baruka said, you threw with difficulty. Skill Dominator's touch was activated. Dagger that was thrown now turned towards Baruka's body and managed to hit his hand. Iron quickly held his body, and magicians from afar assisted with fire attacks. Baruka was too strong. He managed to escape from Iron and was not injured by the witch's fire. Baruka was angry and changed his form. Skills activated. With the body invisible, quickly Jin-Woo slashed Baruka's stomach. Baruka hasn't lost yet. Jin-Woo's hand is grabbed, but quickly Iron is resurrected. and from behind Iron appears and is ready to attack with his axe. Baruka didn't have time to dodge, and finally, Iron's last attack succeeded in overthrowing Baruka. A message from the system appears: Baruka has been defeated, his level has risen. The other hunters were shocked by the results of the battle. They say, "What fight is this? I have never seen it." Even though Baruka was dead, Iron continued to attack him. Jin-Woo was surprised and said, "Stop it already, Iron." In his heart, Jin-Woo said that even though it has become a shadow, your behavior is still the same as Iron. The gate of the dungeon then opened. Jin-Woo happily then said, "Let's go back home." The other hunters were moved as they couldn't believe they made it out of the red gate alive. Jin-Woo then approached Baruka's corpse. Those who were waiting outside had waited until 3 a.m., which meant that it had been one hell of a week hunter had been in the dungeon. Not long after, suddenly the red gate in front of them changed as before. Yunho was happy and said, "You are great, Kim Chul." 3 members were seen leaving the gate, followed by Sunai and Jin-Woo. On was happy and said, "As I expected, Jin-Woo is great." Yunho wondered why no one else came out. He then said, "Where is Kim Chul?" Hai Jin replies that only we survived. Suddenly Yunho was surprised because he knew that the only survivors were weak hunters. In his heart, he said what exactly was going on inside. Was it Jin-Woo who had defeated the boss? Jin-Woo then ignored Yunho and took Sunai home. Yunho firmly said, "Wait, let's talk for a moment." Jin-Woo then released Yunho's hand from his shoulder. Jin-Woo said, "I'm tired. If there's anything you want to ask, just ask your members." Yunho got angry and said, "I've lost 9 of my members. As a guild leader, I have the right to ask you." Jin-Woo looked at him and said, "I saved 3 of your members. You should have thanked me before getting angry." Yunho lowered his anger and said, "You're right, I'm sorry." Jin-Woo and Sunai then left. Yunho asked Hai Jin, "Why does he look so upset?" Hai Jin replied, "I don't know," but while in the dungeon, Jin-Woo said something 3 times near the boss's corpse. After that, he looked annoyed. On joined, and maybe he was tired. "He is a good person. I already know him." Yunho then said to On, "Is he strong? I can feel his aura. If you can get him to join as soon as possible, I fully support you." Meanwhile, Jin-Wook was in the car thinking about why he failed to extract Baruka, maybe because of the big difference in strength, but I was lucky to get the dagger. A dagger is obtained, and the name of this dagger is New. This weapon has a body lightening magic effect that makes its user stronger and more agile. Jin-Woo then took Song-ae home. Sunai then thanked Jin-Woo. After that, Jin-Woo left and remembered that this afternoon there was a raid scheduled with Jin-Ho. In the afternoon, Jin-Ho picked up Jin-Woo to do the raid. As usual, Jin-Ho wears his super expensive equipment. The 2 of them then picked up Sunai at his residence. Sunai came with his new appearance. It seems that now Sunai has a crush on Jin-Woo. The 2 of them chatted about last night's raid. Jin-Ho didn't understand and thought they were dating last night. They then did a raid and entered a dungeon as usual. Only Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho entered. Now that Jin-Woo was fighting alongside his shadow warriors, Jin-Ho was shocked because this was the first time he saw him. Jin-Woo then said, "Now you don't have to bother mining crystals. They can do everything." Jin-Ho limply answered, "I'm useless." Jin-Woo just smiled. Now we enter the life of hunters in America. A group of hunters in the middle of a raid in an A-rank dungeon. An A-rank hunter named James panicked because all of his members had fallen. They are now faced with a mysterious human with long hair and large muscles. The hunter said it must be a human-type monster. Its aura of terrifying strength was almost on par with this one dungeon. "I have no chance to live if attacked." The figure then spoke. "Calm down. I'm also human and I didn't kill your member, I just knocked him unconscious. I'm Korean, you may not understand my language and think I'm a monster. Hwa has been trapped in the dungeon for a long time. Now I just want to go home." With fear, the hunter then took this figure out of the dungeon. In a hunter department in America located in the city of Washington, the man has now been handcuffed and locked in the investigation room. The department's higher-ups were gathered there. Someone then said, "I don't understand the language. What I caught was a hunter from Korea who was trapped in the dungeon for 10 years. His name was Sung Il-wen, and he didn't know why he could suddenly be in America." The high ranker then replied his strength was insane. This city could be in danger. He may be a monster with human memory. We have to do a deeper interrogation. We will ask for help from a hunter from Scavenger named Hwang Dong-soo. He is Korean, so it will be easy to communicate. Maybe he's done with his business in Korea and will soon return to America. We can later know whether this figure is a monster or a human. This part opens with Jin-Woo, who is with Jin-Ho at a restaurant. They are celebrating the success of completing 20 raid. Jin-Woo asked, "What are your plans for the future?" Jin-Ho replied, "Now that I have the conditions to form a guild, I will talk to my father so he will give his project to form a guild. Approval from my father will determine the future." In his heart, Jin-Woo said, "Now all the business is done. There is no time to hang around. I will finish this." Jin-Woo holds a key. Where is the key to open the gates of the Devil's Palace? He intends to complete this mission. Jin-Woo then said to Jin-Ho, "I will disappear for a while. There is a place to go." Jin-Ho answered, "I don't want to bother you anymore. I have an older brother, but never close. I'm happy when I'm with you. I already consider you as my brother." Jin-Woo was surprised to hear that. He smiled and said, then I will consider you as my brother. The next day Jin-Ho went to see his father. Jin-Ho then said, I've got a license to able to create a guild. Dad can see a recap of his journey. In his heart, Jin-Ho said, hopefully Dad will choose me over my brother for this project. His father said, we now have a guest. He is a hunter who survived the Red Gate event yesterday. He survived because Jin-Woo was there, and father already knows Jin-Wook's greatness. Father was also surprised to see that Jin-Wook's name was in your raid team. In his heart, Jin-Ho said, damn, now it's difficult. Father will know if I only accompany Jin-Woo to fight. His father then said, you can get a guild license because of the big help from Jin-Woo. Do you admit it? Jin-Ho admits it and says emphatically that I was assisted by him. But please give me the power to manage my father's guild in the future. His father kept thinking. After a while he said, alright, I give you full rights to this project. Although I'm a little disappointed I have seen your determination, it's too risky if you have to be managed by outsiders, but you can start this project. Can you bring Jin-Woo to join our guild? Apart from him, he will also target 2 other S-rank hunters. Hope you can invite everyone to join. I will do my best, said Jin-Ho excitedly. Back to Jin-Woo's story, after he felt that he had enough supplies, Jin-Wook planned to enter the Devil's Gate. He said goodbye to Jin-Ah and said, I would be gone for a week, you don't look for me. Without thinking, Jin-Woo went straight to the city center. The key to open the palace gate was taken out. Jin-Woo entered the dungeon. Very devilish gate. Now it has been opened. A message from the system appears containing the mission. This time is a survival mission. After going through the gate, Jin-Woo was in a passage like a palace with demon statues beside him. The mission this time is to hunt demons and collect their souls. A total of 10,000 demon souls must be collected. Attractive prizes will be given if you complete the first mission. Players will be given items in the store for free. The second is bonus status points and the third is a secret prize. Jin-Woo said it was a good prize, but the difficulty level must be high. Jin-Woo continued to walk through the passage. After passing through it, Jin-Wook Middle is now in a city of fire with buildings that have collapsed. A group of demons welcomed me, and Jin-Woo said, I'm ready. Jin began to attack them. This demon seemed low. Jin-Woo easily defeated him. Jin-Woo continued to fight non-stop. The number of souls he got continued to grow. All the demons in this area without a fight means it was successfully cleared. Jin-Woo said the demons here are not too difficult, but I managed to level up quickly compared to the usual dungeons. It's a good chance to keep raising my level. The current rank Q might be a little more rank S. An item was then obtained by Jin-Wook called an entry permit or a permit to enter the next floor. In this mission, there is not only one area, but there are 100 areas that are differentiated by floor. Each floor is made of a different world. The higher the floor, the higher the level of demons that must be faced. And on each floor, a demon will hold an entry permit. Without the item, the player cannot go up to the next floor. Jin-Woo already got the entry permit to enter the second floor. A bright light appeared. It was on the second floor. Jin-Woo said a type of monster came out. The shadow of an ice bear appeared. Now Jin-Woo got on it and said, let's go to the next floor. Before Jin-Woo had time to go forward, Jin-Woo was blocked by these 3 annoying demons. Shadow Bear, fighting the 3 demons with great body and strength. The 3 demons he faced were easily defeated. Jin-Woo was impressed and said, your strength is great. You are big and strong. From now on your name is a tank. Jin-Woo entered the second floor. The monsters he faced began to have different levels. As he fought, his skills continued to increase. Dominator Touch leveled up. All the monsters on the second floor were successfully cleared. As per the fight, Jin-Ho said I won't be able to clear 100 floors within a week. It will be difficult for my energy to run out even if I easily defeat the demons. Floor after floor he managed to pass easily. The number of souls collected was increasing. Jin-Wook has now arrived at the 51st floor. Once there, Jin-Woo is confronted by a demon boss on this floor. His body was big and looked strong. The troop protecting him wasn't low level either. Jin-Woo and his army of shadows must face them. Jin-Woo then says, the Sat demon boss looks dangerous. I have to get rid of him first. The shadow warriors started the attack, and the shadow mages attacked with fire from afar. The low demon army was successfully defeated. Mid-class devils don't work with witch fire. Jin-Woo then asked England and Iron to finish the rest. The demon starts to attack. Iron defends with a shield, and Igris with his sword splits the demon's body into 2 skills. Steel activated, and Jin-Woo approached the demon boss with an invisible body. He said the demon doesn't move, this will be easy, and Jin-Woo blink. The demon boss has disappeared. Jin-Woo was shocked by the crazy movement. The boss moved closer to the shadow soldiers. Its strength and speed easily crushed the shadow soldiers. Strong iron collapsed England helpless against it. Jin-Woo quickly approached the demon and gave 1 punch to its body. The devil was thrown away until Jin-Woo was surprised. He just realized that his strength status had been added a lot. He said I was lucky, but I'm not sure the boss will lose immediately. The devil was strong with a sprawling body and a skill called Wrath was used. Huge light came out of his body. It was a skill to increase strength by 50% and Indra to feel pain reduced. The demon stood up again with increased strength. The demon came to attack and its speed increased. Jin-Woo panicked and said, "Iron, throw your shield." Iron quickly threw it. Jin-Woo caught it. Igris came quickly. Jin-Woo managed to withstand the attack with the iron shield. A big explosion occurred, one more blow was given, and the ground that stepped on Jin-Woo was shattered. He's in a tough situation, I have to find an opening. The devil raised his weapon and prepared to strike again. This gap quickly jumped. Now Jin-Woo was in the air. The demon realized that Jin-Woo's movement super quickly changed the direction of his attack. Now his attack was ready to hit Jin-Woo's body. Jin-Woo panicked and thought quickly. The Dominator touch skill was activated on the devil. Jin-Woo's body was successfully pushed, and he also managed to avoid his attack. Jin-Woo said, "I almost died here." A scary attack. The devil's face is slightly broken. Jin-Woo thought this was the gap. I could only aim for the head, but the movement was so fast. I had to create a situation where the devil couldn't escape. Jin-Woo then looked at the building that was about to collapse. I had a plan. Jin-Woo immediately ran. The devil chased him. It's good that the demon chased me. Skill spin activated and quickly climbed up the building. From above, Jin-Woo said, "You can't avoid this." Jin-Woo then destroyed the building that was almost collapsing. Together with the ruins of the building, Jin-Woo moved to attack. The demon couldn't avoid it. One slash with his dagger managed to injure the demon. The devil was getting angry, and Jin-Woo jumped and attacked him in a row. The devil is now unable to fight anymore and managed to be overthrown. After defeating him, Jin-Woo got a special prize. First, he got an item called Demon Monarch Earring. Where it is an earring, this item can add strength and agility, and this item is one of the 3 Demon Monarch sets. Second, he got an item called World Tree Fragment, a wood that comes from the World Tree in which there is high magic power. Third, he gets an item in the form of a magic ball. This item is a ball that specifically can only be used by magicians. The item will multiply the magic power many times over. And the last item obtained is the 2 horns. Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers have also cleaned up all the demonic troops on this floor. England, as usual, presented the heads of its defeated enemies. Iron didn't want to be outdone. He carried the boss corpse and arrogantly showed off to the other shadows. Jin-Woo then gave the magic ball to his magician's shadow. He said to try shooting the building with fire magic using this ball. A large fireball was generated, and the large explosion succeeded in destroying the building to pieces. Jin-Woo was impressed and said this item could drive magic users crazy. On the other hand, On and Haijin are increasingly trying to recruit Jin-Woo. They both came to his residence, but unfortunately, they couldn't meet Jin-Woo. One of the neighbors said, "I didn't know, but I haven't seen her lately." Haijin also said that I already know this from Sunai. I often communicate with her. Sunai get news from Jin-Woo's younger brother that Jin-Woo is going out with his friends, but I don't know if it will be days. On replied, "I am a hunter supervisor. I have access to tracking hunters, and according to tracking, Jin-Woo was last seen in the city. There was no sign that he was out of the country or shopping. This is weird. I'm really curious. Where exactly is he?" Now we return to the situation in America. In the investigation room, a mysterious figure named Sung Il-wan is now sitting at the investigator's table with Dong-Soo. Dong-Soo arrogantly says, "Great, there is a monster that can speak the human language and you are Korean too." Il-wan says, "I am human. If you don't believe, we can do a DNA test." Dong-Soo said that even though you are human, we have to watch over you. You could be a monster disguised as a human. If you cooperate, it will benefit you now. Your fate lies with me. I can determine whether you are a hunter or a monster. Just answer my question. Have you died in the dungeon or survived for 10 years, or are you an undead? Dong-Soo again asked if it was possible for someone who died in the dungeon to come back to life like you. In his heart, Dong-Soo said that if possible, my brother might also be able to live again. Mr. Sung said that the dead can't come back to life. Now I will also ask you one thing. Arrogantly, Dong-Soo answered that I am the one who has the right to ask. You keep silent. Mr. Sung continued, "Listen to me now. Dungeons, gates, and monsters are all just the beginning of a real war. Among them was the greatest calamity that had just awakened from its slumber. My goal now is to stop this disaster." Dong-Suk wonders and asks what you mean by that disaster. Mr. Sung could not answer it. Dong-Suk seems to be mocking humans who come to stop a disaster but can't tell what disaster is meant. Even if that did happen, it would be easy if all the hunters cooperated. Tuin-Sung replied that the numbers cannot match him. Human troops will only become pawns if they fight. You who are quite strong yourself should already know this matter. Dong-Soo angry, what you said was passable. How dare you belittle me? Never mind, there's no use dealing with someone like you anymore. Now I will check your profile. Dong-Soo looked at his profile. Your name is Sung 49 Wan. In your time you were also great as a hunter, you were strong. Your wife was named Park Hyun-hee. You have 2 children. Dong-Soo is surprised to see the names written. He then asks what your children's names are. My daughter is named Jin-Ah and my son is named Jin-Woo. Dong-Soo smiles and the aura of strength is released in his heart. He says this is a second chance given by God. Mr. Sung was surprised and said, "What the hell?" Dong-Soo, who is intent on revenge, decides, "You are a monster." Dong-Soo slandered Mr. Sung. He remembered his private affair with Jin-Woo. "I'll tell you something I already know very well about the state of your son. Your son is now dead." Suddenly Mr. Sung was shocked. They were now staring at each other and giving off each other's aura of strength. We return to Jin-Woo's journey. After passing through several floors for days now, he arrived at the 75th floor. The area this time was a cemetery, which was the territory of the undead army. Now in front of Jin-Woo, he was ready to attack the undead army, which numbered in the hundreds. A mage-type boss demon leading this army of undead, that demon named Metis. This devil is a necromancer. The undead army started attacking there. Jin-Woo said, "Igris, Iron, make me a road." England and Iron advanced, leading the other shadow warriors. England attacked brutally. Iron was invincible. The other shadow warriors were getting stronger and easily hundreds of undead could be overthrown. Jin-Woo is now standing right above the demon boss. He said, "You must be surprised to see the strength of my troops. You are great at controlling large numbers of troops." The demon looked annoyed and couldn't believe all of this. Jin-Woo quickly attacked. A few cuts of his dagger easily felled the demon. A message from the system appears, "Matthias has been defeated." An item was then obtained by Jin-Woo. After defeating this demon, he first obtained an item called the Demon Monarch Necklace. Where it is a necklace, the effect of this item can increase strength and intelligence. This item is also a part of the 3 Demon Monarch set. Now Jin-Woo has got 2 parts out of 3 items. Jin-Woo said, "One more part, I will perfectly use the effect of the Demon Monarch set. This is so crazy, my level can increase by 5 if I use the item." The second that he got was named Spring Water of the Echoing Forest. This item is a magic material. Jin-Woo is now sitting in a pile of undead. He said the power of the devil Metis is extraordinary. His magic can control hundreds of summoned beasts. But unfortunately, I cannot extract it. I don't know the reason, but the extraction skill can't be used on the corpses of demons. It wasn't long before a message from the system appeared. The accumulated demon souls are 10,000. Mission completed, reward will be given. You can choose an item. Please select items. Jin-Woo thought in his heart that a weapon worth billions must have very great abilities, but I can get great items too after clearing the dungeon. I always get better weapons without having to buy them in the system store. I can't choose the wrong one. I will choose the items I need. I choose the cursed random box. He received a mysterious box. He thought again. When I doubled the daily mission, I got a box containing the key to this palace. Now I also exceeded the target of demon souls to collect. Maybe the contents of this box will be the same. And Jin-Woo indeed got another key. Strangely, there is no description on the key this time. Jin-Woo wondered, "I've never seen an item without a description. I'll find out later." The second prize is given status points as much as 20 points. Jin-Woo smartly said, "This is a lot. I will add all these points for intelligence." Jin-Woo's intelligence status is now in second place after strength. The third secret gift was then given. He got an item in the form of a recipe for making the holy water of light. A magic potion that has the effect of curing any disease. Jin-Woo was impressed by all the items he received. Now Jin-Woo has reached his limit. He then said, "I can't hold on any longer. I have reached my limit. I will get out of the dungeon." A great fire broke out in the investigator's room in America. Dong-Soo and Mr. Sung have already fought. The large explosion destroyed part of the building. Firefighters had gathered at the site to extinguish the flames from the rubble. It can be seen that Dong-Soo's body is lying down and helpless. An official at the scene was shocked. He said that Dong-Soo's opponent was very formidable. An S rank like Dong-Soo could be defeated easily. Several days passed. Jin-Woo returned from the dungeon. Now he visits his mother in the hospital. Her mother has been sleeping for 10 years. A rare disease that even sophisticated medical devices can't wake her up. Jin-Woo was silent. Soon he recalled an item that was obtained yesterday. The item contains a recipe for making a magic potion that can cure any disease. The item was called Holy Water of Light. After drinking the entire contents of the potion, a healing effect will occur. To make this potion, you need 3 ingredients. The first ingredient is a world tree fragment, where Jin-Woo got it after defeating the devil fully. The second ingredient was the spring water of the echoing forest on the 75th floor. The last ingredient he had yet to obtain was the purified blood of demon kings. But I know where to get it. It must be on the 100th floor of the demon palace, probably the boss of the last floor holding it. I have to complete a mission in the Demon Palace. I have leveled up 16 during the week in the Demon Palace. I believe my rank is now S. I don't need to be scared of anything. Wait, mother, I'll be back soon. So that's all for the discussion this time. Next, to be able to heal his mother, Jin-Woo will go to the 100th floor to get the item Purified Blood of Demon Kings. Then will Jin-Woo be able to get the item? We'll wait for the next part.